Hi guys, welcome to Acting for Everybody. This is Bree. I've just come back from interstate and I thought now would be a perfect time to start this channel up. It's been a rough few months, so I thought I'd start this off a little more simpler than my original concept. Today we are looking at setting up a studio space at home to record self-tapes. There are many variables to consider, but try to remember, keep it simple, keep it clean, and you'll do just great. As you can see, my apartment has lots of light and all-day sun, which is a blessing. When picking a space, it's important to see how light plays with it. For example, I'd love to use this spot, but there are too many shadows and light flickers from cars. It would be very distracting. My favourite spot to film is this corner, the window that gets all-day sun, and I can adjust the light with the blinds, and the sheer curtains diffuse the light beautifully and create much needed privacy from nosy neighbours. This wall is just the right size to film, and if I want to change the background, I can temporarily prop up some cloth. A lot of people buy stand-up backdrops, but a wall will do if you don't have the money to invest. When I film, I'll take down my Hokusai and Escher postcards so as to limit distraction. Going back to lighting, there are a myriad of ways to light. As long as they can see your whole face clearly, you're doing great. For my setup, I use that window as the main light, and then I use the light coming out of the kitchen window in the distance to balance the front of my face, and then a smaller ring light that I can adjust the location of for the more shadowed part of my face. And this really helps because, of course, when you're using natural light, the sun can often go behind clouds, or, different times of day has different lights as well. So it's always good to have a little bit of flexibility with your lights. Let's move on to what equipment to use. I've gathered my kit over a number of years and it's not the most high-tech, but it gets the job done. First is the ring light I mentioned. It comes with its own tripod. I got this one for Christmas. It's from Kmart, so cost was probably around $35 Australian. I used to use this battery operated light from Wish, but the battery cucked it. With lights, it can help to have a diffuser. You can use so many things like my sheer curtains. You can use old pillowcases. I'd suggest just get creative with it and find something that you've got at home. Just remember that some lights get really hot, so you don't want to be leaving them on for a long time. Next, of course, is a camera. If you have a great phone for video, I would definitely suggest to use that. I use my DSLR. I use that to take my headshots and do photo shoots as well. But as I said, it might be less hassle to use your phone. I think you should save yourself the torture of using tables, shoeboxes, and stacks of books to prop up your camera. Invest in a tripod. You can get reasonably cheap ones these days, and if you're tall like me, you might even find you need a little more height than what your tripod affords, so you might have to pull out a few of those shoe boxes anyway. But next is a slate. Please, if you take one thing from this video, it is the importance of this little tool. I picked mine up from a party store for less than $5. You don't even need to ever write on it. It's just the clapping sound you want. If you have a clapper board like this, you'll be able to sync anything super easy. Audio, video, you name it. I'll be making a video later on this topic. So yeah, that's the basics of the equipment that I use. Now we're going to move on to sound. Sound can easily get overlooked, and if you have limited money to invest in your setup, it might be better to wait. But honestly, it can also dramatically improve the quality of your tape. For example, I live on a busy road in a sometimes noisy block, and having the right mic helps me minimize the background noise, the camera's shifting focus, and reduce the room tone ratio as well. I'll be going into the different types of mics and the different kind of uses for them in another video down the track. I could really overcomplicate things here, but I think there are 3 rules that you can do with projects to really help. Actually, there's 4. I forgot to mention one before. So the first one is make sure your equipment is fully charged and ready to go at all times. You don't know when you're going to have the request to send in a self-tape. Like, often they just come in where you only have like 2 hours or something in the day to do it, and you're like, yeah, so yeah, it's handy whenever you finish using like your cameras or whatever, just put the batteries on charge. Make sure you've always got a backup as well that's fully charged. And make sure you have digital space as well, e.g. your cards and your phone. Yeah, so just make sure you've always got room on them, and I suggest whenever you finished filming a self-tape thing, you just like wipe, you back up the original takes that you've got, and then you clear them off whatever card or phone you originally took them on. The extra one that I'm going to add in here is do a test that if you're going to use a mic, that your mic is working, because there's nothing worse than doing your whole you finish filming the whole thing, and then like 30 minutes before the deadline of when you've got to send in your self-tape, you're like, oh crap, my microphone didn't work. It sounds like crap. So always do those checks before you film. And finally, figure out your full workflow, your self-tape workflow before you do any of your self-tapes. Practice it and play around and have fun. Go set up your own studio space, play around, and if you already have a home set up, send us some photos so we can post them up and inspire some of the other people who watch this channel. Just make a start and grow from there. It doesn't have to be a perfect thing straight up. That's it for today, and I will see you soon.